I want to ask, as somebody who, and this is a rare chance, truly, for our listeners to hear from somebody who has, first female CEO with L'Oreal. You've had thousands of employees. You've been responsible for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
a lot of everything with a company that size. And you've grown very, very quickly, and you've put in a lot of time. When it comes to communicating as a woman, and I'm asking this carefully with the full acknowledgement, I am not one, right? So I get a lot of questions of how, as a woman, how do I communicate something without sounding aggressive, without sounding, like I am a certain way, when I am being too much, I'm being dramatic, I am trying to take up space and barging in. How do you find, for the woman who's listening right now, or driving or walking or working out, that is saying, how do I speak with confidence and speak assertively and not worry about what everybody else is thinking? In your experience, how do you handle those situations being a female CEO?
The most important thing is to make the decision that you're going to commit to learning you're worthy of using your voice, of saying what you mean, of saying how you feel. So many of us, myself included, but a lot of women, were really raised to dim our light and to, if you think about it, and this is very now traditional in the past, but still this way very much so, is that women will bond over problems and be very self-deprecating. Like, oh, my pants don't fit, or this happened to me, or this, but we're not trained, we're not comfortable sharing our wins and being extremely confident without somehow telling ourselves a story that it's arrogant or that we'll be excluded if we shine. And I think number one is realizing how much that doesn't serve us or our daughters or our granddaughters, and making the decision to really almost do a quick audit of, gosh, do I share my beliefs? Do I say what I really mean? Or do I kind of dim my light to make everyone else feel good? Am I comfortable celebrating my victories? And what I'll say, Jefferson, that's a great kind of tool to go from never wanting to celebrate your own wins, which a lot of women aren't comfortable with that, to actually getting to a place where you believe you're worthy of that, or you're worthy of being a CEO, or of leading a team, or of speaking your truth, or of sharing your opinion, or of tomorrow hopping on the team Zoom and raising your hand and sharing your idea. So many of us hold back, right? And a big sort of tool to get unstuck, especially as a woman, is to realize that by doing it, because we almost have to get outside of ourselves, because we are so trained to dim our own light and to shrink and to play small, because a lot of us get rewarded for that our whole life, right? And to get out of that, I think the greatest single tool is to say, okay, I'm going to share my idea. I'm going to cast a vision for our whole team. I'm going to say what I really mean. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to celebrate my win, because by doing that, it's actually setting an example and giving permission to other women to do it, right? Whether it's our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, our grandmothers, right? So often we have to see examples of things to be able to do it. And I think one of the greatest tools to start doing it, to start communicating more confidently and believing you're worthy of leading, is to make it bigger than yourself as well, and be able to do that. And that's one thing. And then, the second thing that I will say, for every person, man or woman, part of how we grew this business in our living room, and it got bigger and passed almost every single beauty company in the country in terms of size and sales and all that, was, having a mission that was so clear that customers really felt the brand was for them. But then in terms of, as a boss and a leader and a CEO, really having a clear vision and purpose where every single person in our company knew why they were there and what our mission was, and how every single part of the job they're doing is purposeful toward that mission. We would have signs on every single person's desk where we had our customer in the middle, but we had our pillars of why we're doing what we're doing. and the impact we were having and trying to shift the definition around inclusivity in the whole beauty industry and around how to, we truly believe every person's beautiful. So our brand wasn't about, change who you are. It was about who you are is enough. And if you love having fun, whether it's with your clothes or fashion or throwing on makeup or whatever, let's celebrate who you truly are. And so we had our mission really, really clear. And what's interesting, Jefferson, for anybody out there running a business or a team or leading, one of our secret weapons, I was able to hire so many people away from other companies that brought incredible knowledge, and often they would take a pay cut. And the reason why was they didn't feel like they had any idea of what their real purpose and meaning was where they were at. They didn't feel like there was a North Star. They didn't feel like what they were doing mattered or was seen or valued. It didn't feel like they were fulfilled. And so I think one thing we did really well in terms of communication that was really a big secret weapon inside the company was, we were unremitting about making sure everyone knew, this is why we're here. This is our mission. This is our North Star as a company, and every single thing you're doing to contribute to that is so valuable. And so we created this culture. The company is called It Cosmetics, and people started talking in it language. It could be the accountant or, our guy who was heading operations or someone in customer service. It didn't matter. They would write emails make it a great day. And it was always capitalized, and everything became it everything. And, people, our customers took on this whole new language of I'm an it girl, I'm an it guy, I'm an it mom, I'm an it survivor. So we've donated tens of millions of dollars to women facing the effects of cancer. But it just took on this whole thing all from how we communicated, not just with our customers, but also internally about what the vision was. And it seems so simple, but it's amazing to this day, even with the podcast, right? When I get people applying to my podcast to work there, it's because they're just not sure what the purpose is in the one that they're working at now. They don't feel like a clear vision. And so I think, the work that you do is so important right now, because how someone communicates, whether it's with themselves or in this case with their team, can literally change everything. It can be how you retain employees. It can be how you get employees from other even bigger, more successful companies to actually want to work for you because they feel alive again. Without communication about the North Star and the purpose, people lose hope and they don't feel alive and they don't feel the day when they're at work.
You've been in the room with a lot of big business CEOs, people who have a lot of influence, people who have a lot of wealth, in these, kind of the room where it happens type of scenarios. What have you picked up on how business leaders communicate? Some of these people who are extremely successful. What kind of communication habits have you seen, or some that you've picked up on yourself?
So two things come to mind that I see as patterns across. And I feel so blessed, Jefferson. And I think you and I can connect on this, and also maybe so many people listening. Some of the people, I was sitting in my living room, and I was working so hard to waitress at Denny's, so when I'm in rooms like that, or when I have some of the most incredible people in the world on my show, including you, I really am aware of how blessed I am. But I do look at patterns and pattern recognition. And I would say two things that I think are really big. The first, and this might surprise people, I don't care who it is. And I've met a lot of people at this point. Every single one of them still actually struggles with self-doubt. Every single one of them. And I think that's really important to call out, because for the person who's watching and listening to us right now, who might think that because they have self-doubt, they're disqualifying themselves from their dreams, or they're thinking stuff's not possible for them, or they couldn't one day run the company they're working for, or they couldn't one day have healthy relationships in their family, or whatever it might be. The thing that I've learned is I used to think I was alone in self-doubt, or that something, and I used to try to hide it. And I think the thing that I know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, interview after interview on my show, it doesn't matter who it is, every single person has talked about their own feelings of self-doubt or feelings of being unworthy. And I think that, learning how to navigate through those by things that you teach, and I hope I teach in the book Worthy and on the podcast is like the way you communicate with yourself and the tools that you can use. So I think this is really big because I could say, oh, all these people have something that we don't have. But really, I think the most important thing is to say, oh, wow, they all have self-doubt too. And that means that, the things I hope for in my own life are possible for me too. The second thing that comes to mind in a big way in terms of pattern recognition is that with this idea that energy is contagious, the thing I've seen is that some of the most successful people in the world, whether it's in business or thought leadership or in a public role of some sort, they're really good about making sure they have a circle around them that is, I don't know how to say it other than vibrating at a really high positive level versus a circle where there's negativity or, gossip or things that are that pull you down, and they're very protective about it. And, I think that when all of us think about the people we have around us, and like some of the people, we're not going to be like, oh, my mom is really negative. Peace out, mom. Like, but like, yeah. Some people we just need to learn, okay, because we can either have a close circle around us or are the people around us more like a cage? And I think asking ourselves, okay, let me see, how does it feel in my body when I think about the people that are around me, my closest people, who I share what happened in my day, who I share when I'm feeling down, who I share when I have a great big idea or a big win. And when we think about those people we share those things with, how do they feel in our body? Do they empower us? Do they tell us the truth even when it's hard? But do they believe in us? Do they truly want the best for us? Does being around them, do we leave the room and we feel like, I feel like I'm, energized? Or do we feel like, like depleted, like down, like, oh, I went into that conversation believing this idea and now I feel like maybe I don't have what it takes, or, and really paying attention to that feeling. Because a lot of us, instead of having a great circle around us, we have more of a cage. And you can change that. Like even as an adult, you can, love people, but maybe from a new distance. Maybe they're in your outer circle and you really think about making a few new friends as an adult, or bringing mentors, even mentors online you may never meet, like Jefferson Fisher or your favorite people, bringing them into your inner circle and being like, how do I want to spend my time in a way that really elevates me? And, there's a thing called emotional residue, Jefferson. And this is important. This is a great tool, actually super practical for anyone listening. If you think about when you eat a Cheeto, how it leaves orange on your fingers, or you drink like a blue Slurpee and your tongue is blue.
Yeah, some Cheeto Puffs, a bag of Cheeto Puffs. Hate to see me coming. I'll tell you, I'll destroy one.
Well, that's residue we can see. But when you're around people and then you leave a room, they'll leave an emotional residue on you and you can feel it. And so start paying attention to that and saying, how does that feel? And in my body, does that feel like joy? Does it taste like freedom? Or is it the opposite? And, when you ask about some of the most incredible people, I feel so blessed to be in rooms with, as are you, by the way. That's the big thing I notice is they do a really good job of curating the people around them, not having yes people around them, nothing like that, but people in their inner circle, even in their personal life, that they can really trust, but that really want the best for them, that really want to see them do so well and that tell them the truth. And I think that's really, really important.
If you enjoyed that clip and want to see the rest of the conversation, you can click right here. Or if you want to see the latest episode of the Jefferson Fisher podcast, click right here and I'll meet you there.